these things die without water or the swamp. He says in verse 13, so are the paths of all that forget God. He's accusing Job of forgetting God. There is nothing more hurtful to a true believer, particularly when they are going through a period of suffering and affliction. When somebody comes and tells you that not only is this happening because of sin, but they say things in modern times like this: you need to get your heart right with God. How many times have we heard somebody say that to us? Or maybe you said it to somebody else, or maybe you heard someone else say it to somebody else. They look at your outward circumstances. They look at what they see. They look at your misfortune and tell you, you need to get your heart right with God. This is happening because your heart's not right with God. But if you got the first house and the second house and the third house, and you got the Bentley in the garage, you got the job, you just got a recent pay raise, you got a healthy set of twins that were born to you, and all you wanted was 2 kids in the first place. You got the dog, the picket fence, you got all the things you want. You got friends around you. This is viewed by most folks, Christian people included. This is viewed as God's favor. And I'm not saying that it is not the favor of God and the blessings of God showered upon you when you have these things. But the mistake that so many Christians make is in not making the same assumption about the afflictions that come your way. We need to understand that the afflictions that come our way, that they come from God. If they came from any other source but God, we would have the grounds for being excused and having no justifiable grounds for having any real hope if God has no control over the affliction that we have. This is the foundational principle to the Christian believing and understanding that God is sovereign in all things. God is sovereign in all things. And that is the reason why we can have hope. Now, he says here in verse 13, Bildad, and the hypocrite's hope shall perish. And he is saying that if you continue in whatever it is you're doing, and we don't know what it is, the evidence that we do have that there is sin is the fact that you got boils, lost your family, your wife cursed you, you lost your home, you lost your animals, you lost your health, all these things. This is all we need to know to come to the conclusion that you have forgotten God, you are a hypocrite, and the hope of you as a hypocrite will perish. But those who understand, who truly understand who God really is, they understand that he is in charge of everything. And that means that if we have our trust in him, like Job said, shall we not take the good along with the evil? Mr. Mayor, go ahead.
I want to bring up Jesus. So who else appeared withered before men? The Lord Jesus Christ. He appeared withered. He was beaten and with a cat of 9 tails and suffered. But he wasn't.
The cat of 9 tails?
Yeah. The cat of what was he? He was hit with the cat of 9 tails. The Lord Jesus Christ. What's it called?
We'll come back to that later. But go ahead.
But what I'm saying is he was whipped and beaten.
I know what you mean.
And he looked withered, but he was not cut down. Just like Job was. I think so many times when we see people, again, reflecting on our own selves and our own situation, we see people that may be suffering on the outside. And just like Bildad, we're misinterpreting the testing of the Lord, thinking that it's something that they've done when it isn't.
Right.
Because the righteous still suffer. And if we go back to Job chapter 1, verse 8, the Lord said, what? Have you considered my servant? So while we're reading this, I think we have to still consider that Job is the servant of the Lord being tested, which I don't think that Bildad is seeing the innocence in suffering.
Good point. Very good point. Brother Jeff, go ahead.
Jonathan, I know you're not crazy about my translation that I study out of, but let me read to you verse 13, okay? It says, such is the destiny of all who forget God. Now listen to this. So perishes the hope of the godless.
Right.
He is calling Job godless.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, he's saying, like when yours says the end, that's what we're talking about, the hope, because our hope is the end. It's not the hope like I wish this happens. It is talking about when we talk about hope, it is talking about an actual expectation. Christ is our hope, and Christ is called our blessed hope. But yeah, like Mariah says, it's assurance. Hope here in this context is talking about about what is certain for us. Now, in this case here, like you said, Brother Jeff, is that the hypocrites' hope or their end shall perish. And this is why I said he is basically, in modern speak today, he's telling him, you need to rethink whether or not you even have salvation. You need to rethink that. You need to really take a look at this. And he's telling them to go back to basics, go back to antiquity. So that's what he's doing. And here's the problem. Now so there is so much suffering that Job is going through. Most of us as Christians, when we read, we get this cursory view of the extent and the extremity of his suffering. And we know that he lost his homes and his kids and his wife turned on him and whatever, and he has the boils. But then his friends, and we call them the miserable comforters, there's the things they say to him. And now think about this. You've lost everything in pretty much all but a moment. And now here comes another dagger by Bildad. You may not even be a Christian. What you're going through is telling me that you have sin in your life, and because you won't tell us what it is, that means you're unrepentant. And that would mean that because you're unrepentant, even God has turned his back on you and is taking a nap. In other words, God is sleeping on you. He's not willing to wake up to come to your aid until you deal with your sin. But think about this. You have all this going on. Your friends were supposed to come and provide comfort. And now you have one of your chief buddies telling you may not even be a Christian. You may not even be a believer. He's accusing him of forgetting God. Job, who at the end of chapter 7 was pleading with God to give him some respite, some peace, even if it was between swallows of spittle. He was asking, crying out to God. And this guy is saying, you forgot God and you're a hypocrite and your end will be the way of perishing. How can you tell? And he starts off by telling them, your kids died because of transgression. Now he's saying, you don't even have salvation. You're a hypocrite. Job is getting every single blow that I think the devil can dish out. Sister Mariah, go ahead.
Just gonna say exactly what you just said. That he even questioned his children's salvation. That he starts off by saying if they have sinned, and then goes on to say, then God has cast them away for their transgression. Now he waits no millisecond to go ahead and then accuse Job of even doing the same thing that he said his children has done.
Right.
And if he even has salvation, I'm sure I wouldn't be surprised if he threw the wife in there at some point,
Oh yeah. I mean, imagine, especially for those of us, men, right? Because it hits us kind of hard. It's like your kids, you're a believer, you're at church, you're doing your deacon duties, whatever it is you got going, you're a faithful person, but you got a couple of unruly kids that are out there in the street doing what they do, getting in trouble or whatever. And then people start telling you that there's something wrong with you. You can't manage your household. Now, Job was offering sacrifices for his kids daily. We were told that. And yet you have this guy saying, nope, your kids, they died because of their transgression. But it's just the timing and the hardness, the callousness with which he conveys this to Job. I mean, there's no way to soft pedal this in his speech when you look at what he's going through. And to be that crude and harsh, it just lacks all compassion. It's completely bereft of any compassion. And it's hard to do. And now they're saying, okay, well, now it looks to me, Job, that you have forgotten God. You're a hypocrite and you're going to perish for it. And these are hard words to take. So I agree with you, sister. You're dead on. Brother Pat, and then Jeffrey.
It occurs to me that even when unbelievers go through hard times in their life, what is it that they'll always say? They'll say, well, these are tough times, but I've got my family and my friends. These are people who are supposed to help you get through the hard times.
Right.
And instead, they are actually part of the trial. They're part of the storm. And Job's left naked with nothing but faith.
And this is what should be our daily practice. I know that it is something that I'm conscious about, and I hope that I can persuade a lot of you to be conscious about it, about how we respond to other believers, especially those who are part of our household of faith, that is. Even when someone we believe doesn't understand something that we believe we understand to be true and want to convince them. There are ways to deal with our brothers and sisters in Christ that we could do better in how we communicate it. And as I have come to conclude in so many different situations, half of it is just letting people say things and leading them down a path where they can logically come to a conclusion that is biblical, assuming you're correct. And this is just one thing I'm talking about. But like Brother Pat said, and I like this because what I got out of what he just said, which is a good lesson to get from it, is that when someone is struggling so much, we should be as reluctant as possible to become part of the torment. We should do whatever we can to not be part of the burden that they are already carrying, and try to find some way to lead them back to the waters that we read here in these verses, so that they can find refreshment. He's telling Job, well, listen, Job, can a rush grow up without mire? Can the bulrush grow without water? But what is he doing to provide any refreshment to Job? He believes he has the gift of rebuking. So many Christians that are like that they believe that's their gift. And I'm not even being hyperbolic. I have heard people say that they believe they have the gift of rebuking. What a gift that everybody would love to have. And so, but that's how some people act. My job is to correct everybody on everything. That's my job. And to tear them down when they don't get it. Not with an argument, just being boisterous and overbearing and a burden. We have to try not to add to a person's suffering when they're suffering or when they're afflicted, not to add to it. Let's be part of the solution. Let's bring some measure of refreshment to that soul who's struggling with whatever it is they're going through. And that can be hard to do. It can be very hard to do. But Bildad paints this very vivid picture. Calling Job a hypocrite is what he's doing. Calling him the papyrus, calling him the marshy grass that is not drinking from the water of life freely. He's forgotten God. He's a hypocrite. And the only hope that he can expect to be manifest is to perish. He accuses Job of withering because all the water is being withdrawn. Sister Candy, go ahead.
I was gonna say it's just like what the Sadducees, Pharisees, and the scribes did to Jesus, isn't it?
Yep.
So we're seeing the foreshadow of that too.
Yep. You get to see a lot of that, and look, Bildad, he makes this argument that when wicked people are prosperous, they don't have any firm root. So when you look at this papyrus and you look at the marsh, when they don't have the water and they don't have the swamp, then they're very likely to wither and die. And so he is calling Job one of these, somebody who has prospered at one point, and now his swamp has dried up. The water is gone. And all that he has is gone. And he's equating all of that blessing of that water. Bildad is equating it with Job's stuff. He's equating Job's prosperity with the stuff. It never occurs to him that it was God giving him these things for whatever reason God had. But he's assuming that he's this godless person who was prosperous but had no water, and therefore now is being plucked up because of his wicked ways. And so when God withdraws his favor, and when God takes away all those blessings that Job has, and his life falls apart all at once, he's trying to tell Job that your utter ruin is the result, the sign, the evidence of your unrighteous ways, your sinful deeds. But who else made the same conclusion? Satan did. Bildad is accusing Job to his face of the very same thing Satan accused Job of to God's face. Remember, Satan told Job, or told God, that the reason why Job will never curse you is because of all the stuff you gave him. That's why he'll never curse you, but let me lay my hands on him and he'll curse you to your face. Bildad is saying the same thing. The only reason that, you know, or that the only reason that you thrived was when you had stuff, but because of your wickedness, and because God took it away, or the reason why God took it away is because of your sin. Brother Jeff, go ahead.
Yeah, Jonathan, undoubtedly, Bildad overheard every word of the conversation that Eliphaz had with Job earlier, and Job didn't come clean in his confessions in Bildad's mind. So what he does, he ratchets up a lot his accusations against Job to the point, like you've just pointed out, Job, are you really sure you're even a man of God? There is no righteousness in you. Look at all these terrible things that have happened to you. What's going on, Job? Come clean. And I mean, it's almost to the point where the accusation from Job's friends, Jonathan, are worse than what he has lost.
Right.
I'm not saying they're a good thing. Don't get me wrong. But these are supposed to be his supporters, his friends, his encouragers, the men in his life who provoke and persuade him. Okay? They're not doing it.
Right.
They're kicking him in the teeth while he's down.
Right.
That's what the thing about this that has really opened my eyes about the story of Job is not just what the devil did, but what his so-called friends did to him when they came to console him.
Right. Right. Absolutely. Good point there. So in that last verse, he says, so are all the paths of those that forget God, and the hypocrites' hope shall perish. Now we come to verse 14 and 15. Whose hope, meaning those who forget God and perish, whose hope shall be cut off, and whose trust shall be a spider's web. He shall lean upon his house, but it shall not stand. He shall hold it fast, but it shall not endure. Sister Lisa, what do you think he's saying here?
This brings me to mind a house built on sand. That's what he's accusing him. He's accusing him of not having his house built, his confidence. The house built on sand is stuck in my mind, that when trials come, it washes away. And this is what Bildad is saying to him. You know, he leans against his house, but it does not stand. He's just saying, you have your.
Well, look, let me go back. I'm gonna stick with you on this one. I'm gonna pick on you a little bit right now.
Oh, great. Hey.
So yeah. So verse 14, he says, talking about those who forget God, the hypocrites. He says, their hope shall be cut off. You know, that's basically tantamount to saying like your salvation, your life, you know, your life in God, however we want to look at it. And then he says, whose trust, so we're going to deal with trust, shall be as a spider's web. So I want you to because what I'm trying to do is I want everybody to think. Don't look at notes or anything. Think for yourself. Just think.
So his confidence,
He's talking about his trust.
his trust in the Lord. He's saying that those who are the hypocrites, their confidence isn't in the Lord.
But when he says his trust shall be a spider's web, what is the spider's web? What does the spider's web say about his trust?
I'm trying to think. A spider's web, it's a trap. So it's a trap so his trust is a spider's web. It's what he's accusing Job that the trust he has is not, what's the,
Keep going. What is he saying about his trust? He's using the metaphor of the spider's web to describe his trust. So what are the attributes of a spider's web that he is equating with his trust?
The spider's web, it's a trap. It catches the spider's prey. Those who are caught in a web are dead. It's death to them.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. You said I forgot the word you said. You said a trap. And I think that's a good word that we can stick to, trap. Brother Pat, what do you think?
Well, spiders' webs don't endure.
They don't endure. You want to elaborate a little bit more on that?
Well, a spider builds something up for a purpose, and they have to do it again every day because they put it up and it's destroyed before the next day, and the next night it just doesn't endure.
Yeah. All right, Brother Trevor, I know you're getting ready to go, but I want to give you one shot before you leave, brother. Thought you were getting out of there, didn't you? Brother Trevor, you there?
Yeah, I'm here. So whose trust is a spider's web?
Yeah.
Is basically hoping to catch anything that comes by, but I'm trying to wrap my head on this one because Bildad is playing the role of Satan. Satan's using Bildad to make Job believe that he's lost the inheritance of the Lord because he lost his riches. Basically, he has nothing to show for, and he's basically trying to convince Job that everything that God had done for him, he has taken it away. And, now he's at this point where he's trying to, throw in the kill, basically with his mind, if he can convince Job that he's lost, that he doesn't have God on his side anymore, then he might just give up and die, so when he's speaking these things, it's basically like going for the kill shot, the spider's web, though. I think Lisa pretty much said it. It's a spider's web is basically, to catch the spider's prey.
Yeah, but remember what he's saying is
his trust is.
Yeah. All right, Lisa, you brought your hand up again. Go ahead.
So here, I don't know if I can say this right. So is Bildad saying to Job that your trust is like a spider's web? Is he saying to him, your trust it's a trap? You must have had faith in all those things that you had and not true faith in the Lord. And that is why you're going through this stuff.
Now we're getting somewhere. Because what does, and there's some more I want to add to this, but here's what but you nailed one of the things that I have on my list, and that is he trusted. So when people have their homes and their jobs and their cars and their money and everything, is what does that provide for us? What's the number one thing that provides for us?
Security.
Security. And so, and so Job's security, Bildad is telling him that the stuff that you had, it provided you a false sense of security, like Brother Old School says. Big one. That's a big one. This stuff doesn't give you any real security. You can think that you can save away in your 401k, put your money into your, what do they call that new stuff now? The
Bitcoin.
The Bitcoin and all that kind of stuff. People, the world never stops believing that their security is in this world. It is not. And this is a big thing. Sister Meg, and then Mariah.
So I'm sitting here thinking, and so like when you look at a spider's web, if you see one, right, it looks elaborate and nice. It's so like well put together and it looks strong, but it's strong enough for the spider. But we as human beings, we can take that spider web and just knock it right down.
Okay, now let me stop you right there for a minute, because now you're going down the right path. This isn't about it because remember, he's using the spider because it matters for the human. It matters to the human because what is he saying? He's saying that the trust of the hypocrite is like a spider's web. So go ahead. I just want to, because I like what you're saying.
Okay, so when we look at a spider web, it looks elaborate and it's beautifully woven, but all we have to do is take our hand and swipe it away.
Yep.
And it's gone, right? So to us, a spider web looks like a false hope, but to the spider, it looks secure. So in tying that together, it's like, oh man, I'm just thinking. So it looks strong, but when you lean upon it or when you swipe it away, it's gone.
Yeah, but it doesn't look strong to us.
No, not at all.
That's what
it's
I'm saying.
Nothing. We know that it's not.
Right.
But to the spider, it does.
Yeah, but the issue is not the spider.
No, but to us, it's nothing.
Right. The issue that we're talking about is Job's trust, the trust of the hypocrite.
So I wouldn't trust no spider web being a human being.
Right. Well, let me, Mariah, what do you think? Let me ask you, what do you think? What do you think about this?
So I wanted to say what he's saying to me is that the hope of the godless, it disintegrates, and basically their trust or their confidence hangs on by a thread, and the spider web, it is not connected to God, it's connected to this world. Things upon this world. So he's basically saying, you trust in the things of this world, or the unbeliever rather has its connection and bounds to their trust in this world, and not threaded to God.
Right.
It's not connected there, so it's hanging on by a thread.
I like that. Meg, you were going to say something?
Yes.
All right. Let's hear it. Tell us something.
All right. So Bildad, I think what the underlying issue is that at this time, Job's hope looks fragile. Like where he's at right now, it looks like it's fragile. Right. Yet, going back to Job 1:8, God declares him upright. Mm-hmm. So he appears cut off and fragile, but he's not.
Fragile is one of the words that Lefty used in the comments. Fragile was one of the words that I had listed as well.
I think from a human perspective, a spider's web is very fragile.
It's extremely fragile. And the thing, and so what it is what you have is, because it not only is it fragile, it is thin and it's fragile, but it from a spider's perspective, for example, it is deceptive. It's deceptive.
It looks secure, but it's not.
It looks secure, but it's not. And this is what Bildad is saying. And again, he's talking about real things, really, because it's really a profound statement to make. But he is dealing with this whole idea of false hope. And I like the word Lisa used, trap, because it when you have this sense of security that is not real, that's what the trap is. Believing that it is secure when it is not. And so you get caught up in that trap. And so I think somebody used the very words caught up. But that's what that is. My father used to use that word a lot. When you going off into things that you shouldn't be get into, and you eventually get caught up in it. But it's deceptive. It's fragile. It's thin. It's a trap. And I think Pat was who said that it's not enduring. It doesn't. Spider webs don't last very long. It takes nothing to rip down a spider's web. But what Bildad is telling Job is this, that his trust